opportunities available to you.
Well, that's good. I like to pass that on everywhere I go. That if you're willing to work hard and do it the right way. Do it the right way is the important words there. Do it the right way. You can't just get out and have a hustle and expect to be successful in life. You've got to treat people right. You got to be honest in all your dealings, and you got to consult people. Surround yourself with people that are doing things the right way. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, so the whole idea of America and reflections on freedom. The second thing that I want to say to you then, since you're making me tell you why it was a good show, just teasing. A lot of people's definition of freedom is different than mine. What is your definition of freedom? So let's turn it back on you, since you want me to, you're a lawyer, you get paid to speak, but I'm not paying you.
Right. I'll bill you later. Freedom. Well, I think there are different types of freedom, right? There's political freedom. There's economic freedom. There is social freedom, and I think in America you generally have, and we're not going to get into politics, but you generally have a lot of each of those. I went to a private school in Norfolk that was filled with people that were people that are wealthy and have great reputations and own businesses, but those people accepted me with open arms. There was no, just because I wasn't a member of the yacht club, that didn't mean they looked down upon me. They were all great friends, and I think that sort of social freedom, which results in I think a lot of satisfaction, is one way that I view the definition of freedom.
That's good. I think a lot of people think that freedom is being able to do what you want to do, go where you want to go. It's a song from the 60s. Those are the lyrics from it. But I want to add this to it, and I think you'll be in agreement. If you're not, we're going to end the show early. With freedom comes great responsibility. It's kind of almost a Spider-Man line. I love Spider-Man, but what I'm going to tell you is this. I think one of the greatest freedoms that we have is the freedom to sacrifice for others.
Right, because you only make that choice out of your free will. No one forces you. I mean, generally, no one in the context of what you're talking about forces you to sacrifice for others.
So you just said the word that I really was hoping that we could get to. It took me a while to bring it out of you, but choice. So can you go a little bit into the freedom of choice that you have in America?
Freedom of choice in America. Look around the country. Look at the lifestyles of people in California. Look at the lifestyles of people in Portland, New York, all over. Whatever sort of lifestyle you want to live, you can live it. If you want to live out of your car and go surfing every day, that's available to you, so long as you can pay for gas and whatnot. I think those choices. You have unlimited choices.
Yeah. In some of the countries in Europe or some of the other countries in the world, in the communist bloc, so to speak, China, I don't think those choices are available.
Right. So in Moldova, if they found out you were gay, they would kill you. Not necessarily the government, but just your neighbors. Not that that's everyone's choice, but that just shows you sort of the lanes, you have limited lanes available to you.
With the freedom of choice that we're talking about, tolerance is very, very important. Right. If just like you said, you used an example of in Moldova, if you were gay, you might get killed by your neighbors because they don't accept your lifestyle. But in America, we practice tolerance. At least we're supposed to. Right. That's what we hope for. So I guess I'm just trying to say that we have great freedom here, but it's not easy. It's not easy. We got a lot of issues here, but at least we're hopefully gonna solve them and move forward. And my wife likes to say, and I do too, It really all comes down to respect. No matter what else that we do in this life, respecting others. And then how do you feel about that?
I think now more than any other time in my life, there's a lack of respect from amongst people for other people. That's how I feel, when, and again, not to get into politics, but whenever I tell people my political views and whenever, I feel a lack of respect. And I hear that from everyone that I know, from both sides. Disrespecting the other side. And I think that's not healthy, and I don't think it's going to lead anywhere good.
Well, good. So now we got about 15 minutes, give or take, left, and we've done a little bit of background, and you're a very, very free spirit. You're a self-made person along with it's in your blood. I mean, we've established that you've got freedom and entrepreneurship in your blood, which is absolutely admired by me. And I hope other people appreciate that. But you've chosen to do something with your life that is why I brought you on the show. When we were talking about maybe you could just come on the show and share some of your life, and you were like, well, you kind of asked me like, why do you want to do that? and my answer to you was because you are a very, very giving person to others. And I asked you, why? Why do you give to others? And so that's where I want to go now. Is I want to get into some of the things that you do with yourself. So to begin with, you've had a lot of people help you. You and your family got here. You immigrated to America. You had the Jewish Family Federation help you, and so you're giving back. But will you talk about what's in your heart for why you want to give back and why you do give back? And then after you say what your reasons are, the name of the show is The Reason to Help. So let's talk about why we chose to name the show The Reason to Help. And then we're going to talk about some of the worthwhile causes that you support.
For me, it's a sense of duty. It's not a rational act, which is kind of interesting that we call the show Reason to Help. But I never think about it. I just it's almost the conclusion was already there. I just should do this, and therefore I'm going to do it. And that's that's the driving force. It's nothing more, nothing less.
It's in your blood, and you say it's your duty, but right. You have this desire. You actually told me, well, you help other people because so many people helped you.
Right.
The concept behind giving back.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody makes you give back to anybody else. You just know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I just sort of feel it's a feeling. And I guess it is born out of my appreciation, right? That's the essence of it. Being able to look back at life and say, wow, look at all those people that helped me. Maybe people helped me a little bit here, a little bit there, and some people helped me a ton. And I probably don't even know all the people that helped me. When I was a kid, which is when we needed help the most. So that's the feeling.
What's so good about you, Igor, is that you give naturally. It's a natural instinct for you, and it's obvious to me because when I met you through that CARES program, the stimulus package, you just made yourself available, and you put out some follow-up emails, and everybody that was in the group, you said, hey, just call me anytime you want, if you need any help, etc. And so I caught that about you very quickly. Have you ever had in your travels a need to have people accept you, forgive you, and found that forgiveness is the other part of the tolerance that I'm talking about? We talked about respect, we talked about tolerance, but I'm a strong believer on forgiveness also, that the past has a lot of things that are wrong. We have to move on, but without a spirit of forgiveness, built up resentment and harboring grudges and so forth can destroy things. And
sure.
And so has that come into play in your life?
So my family has suffered a ton throughout the centuries, and World War II, the Holocaust. Most of my family was wiped out with the Holocaust, but I don't feel a grudge when I hear when I think about Germany, I don't blame, I don't hold any grudge there. And I think I've come around to that because you have to recognize how people make decisions, and that most people, most of the time, aren't filled with any sort of hate or animus. There are a bunch of there's a confluence of events around their lives that cause them to do what they do. And I think if you separate the essence of someone from what would cause them to do something, it's much easier to forgive. I think that applies even to personal relationships. If you say, well, this wasn't their character, this was the circumstances. If you can do that, I think it helps in a lot of different ways.
That's beautiful. So people that take on the role of being a mentor to other people, I think one of the secrets to helping people that are downtrodden is a word that comes to my mind, because we're talking about, people that are immigrants come to America that are downtrodden and they need a break, et cetera. But people that have gone through hardship are definitely in the downtrodden category, that have a hard time climbing out of the bottom sometimes. And so, Right Thinking Foundation that I've put together 8 years or so now, there's a lot of mentoring involved. And when I meet people that are, in my mind, people that I greatly respect and admire, I sometimes enlist them to be mentors to some of the people that I come in contact with. And I don't think there's anything any better than being a mentor to someone that needs a role model, because they might not have had the right opportunities in life. People can't see, but there's a video running right now. And on the back here, I've got my poster, so to speak, and it talks about serving the underserved, the 85%. And my foundation's kind of built on this one premise that I fight for every day. 85% of all the children whose parents are incarcerated currently or have been incarcerated are probably going to follow in their parents' footsteps, just because they're born into a family. And I like to say that, I won't ask you the question because I'm just going to give the answer because we've got 10 minutes left. But I think one of the most unfair things in life is that children cannot choose. With all the choices we have in America once you're here, children cannot choose the family that they're born into. And it's kind of the luck of the draw. So one child might be born into a family where one of the parents is incarcerated, the other is really not living right, drug addict perhaps. Now, what's that child's opportunity in life going to be? Born into a family where they get no attention, no proper upbringing. And as they grow up, they have to fend for themselves. They get mixed up in a whole lot of things that are dangerous. And before you know it, they're out there on the streets, so to speak. And so you're doing something, Igor, that's absolutely wonderful. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America, because that's one of the organizations that you dedicate yourself to. So that's just so beautiful. So could you talk about your experience with Big Brothers of America?
So I work with a young man. He's 14. I've been working with him for a year now. And I got into the organization through a confluence of events that isn't particularly interesting. But I was interested in, he's a kid that doesn't have, just as you were talking about, doesn't have much direction. He's got a great mother, loving mother, smart mother. But I think she needed sort of a masculine role in the boy's life. He could talk to me about, the crush he had, and this is, I think how this progresses over time. He's going to have a dilemma. His buddies are going to want to go out and do something bad. And he might text me, or he might tell me later and I'll be disappointed. And he'll say, okay, well, that was a bad thing to do. And being able to sort of just nudge him in the right direction over time. And this doesn't happen in a week. This doesn't happen in a month. It happens, by building that relationship. That is what drove me to be interested in this organization and to work with my little brother.
So basically, you have taken an interest in a 14-year-old because you recognize that he needs a positive influence in his life, that he can have a friend that he can respect and come to and give some big brother. That's why they call it Big Brother, I guess, huh?
Right.
Well,
right. And that's the role you play. You play a friendship role. And you're not trying to be a father figure. You're not trying to be a disciplinarian. You just sort of try to guide them.
There's a survey done. I did some research on Big Brothers. I guess you know the history, but it's been around since about 1905 or something. 19